Thousands of visitors descend on the city will be live.
A major victory for homeowners in the citrus canker eradication battle.
Trouble for mid-sized cars involving fender benders. Does your car pass the new low-speed crash test? Many don't.
Plus, we travel to Texas to test their new juvenile justice system. Would it work here in Florida? Tonight, the conclusion of our special report, Juvenile Justice for All. Hello, South Florida. I'm Maggie Rodriguez.
And I'm Elliot Rodriguez. And for Steve Wolford, CBS 4 News at 5 starts right now.
Now, live. This is CBS 4 News First at 5.
Developing at 5 o'clock, flames ripped through a California apartment building after a massive explosion. The blast comes after terrorism threats involving apartment buildings.
And right now, the FBI is on the scene. CBS 4's Jennifer Santiago is live in satellite control with the latest. Jen.
Well, Maggie and Elliot, earlier reports indicate this may be the result of a natural gas explosion. But as you might imagine, in the post-9/11 world, nerves are on edge, particularly in light of that. Everything is under control, but far more tragic. Word that at least one person is dead, another badly burned, and other injuries. This amateur photographer arrived at the scene minutes after the explosion.
The whole building has collapsed on itself in like a U shape, and all the floors on top of each other. Extreme heat, and it's hard to breathe with the smoke, and there's people coming out. Some of them burned, and police are having a hard time getting some of them to leave the area.
Now, the FBI is currently on the scene of that explosion, having deployed a bomb technician and several agents. We are also hearing there are several injuries, and in addition, search dogs are going through the building looking for people who may be trapped. Live in satellite control, Jennifer Santiago, CBS 4 News.
A dramatic scene in Fort Lauderdale today when a helicopter crash lands on the beach.
CBS 4's Joan Murray is out there live right now with all the details. Joan.
Well, it's turning out to be a memorable Memorial Day weekend. Anyone who happened to be near the Yankee Clipper Hotel today here on Fort Lauderdale Beach saw a scene you usually see only at the movies. A beautiful day at the beach, and suddenly a loud pop.
We were just out here playing volleyball, heard a loud noise, turned around and saw a helicopter flying real low with flames coming off of it.
The right side engine had blown out and flames were shooting out of the back of it, and it kind of faltered and stayed in place for a second, and then he managed to take it out.
I thought it was going to blow up. I was extremely nervous. I'm here with my sister and 2 children, and I grabbed one of the kids and I started to yell to everybody to call 911.
The fire in the sky caused a commotion on the beach.
As we ran down here, you could see the people scatter, and his rotor obviously didn't hit anybody. But I was surprised how quick the thing came down from being in the air to hitting sand.
We were crying, and we didn't know what was going to happen. We thought it was a bomb at first because it was so loud, and we thought it was just going to crash right down on us because when it got further, we could see the flames and all orange.
The pilot, Sergio Izzo, who'd just taken off from Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, was ferrying a passenger to Fisher Island when he experienced engine trouble.
He knew he had a problem. He started going into a tailspin. His main concern was to set it down somewhere where it was unoccupied. As you can see, the beach is fairly crowded. He found a spot where there was nobody at and was able to set it down safely.
Once on the sand, the pilot had to deal with a small fire inside the chopper.
The pilot, he got out and he pulled the other guy out. He came out and he rolled, the propeller had like slanted down, and the pilot had rolled out, and he seemed to be all right.
Rescuers credit the chopper pilot with saving his own life, the life of his passenger, and the lives of everyone who was on the beach. Now, federal investigators have been out here looking at the chopper. They will issue a report in the next few months on exactly what happened. Meanwhile, everyone is fine tonight, and it will take at least a couple more hours to get that chopper off the beach. Live in Fort Lauderdale, Joan Murray, CBS 4 News.
All eyes remain on the tropics tonight. Everybody hoping, of course, the wet weather will not ruin our weekend.
We don't want that. CBS 4's Bob Soper is live in weather control with the details for us. Bob.
Well, Elliot and Maggie, it looks like it's not going to be that bad a weekend, although the surf is going to be up. We still have rip currents for swimmers out there, so a little bit tough in that regard. But the good news is it does not appear that low down in the Caribbean is going to strengthen. It's right in here, and you can see a lot of the weather is out here to the east of it. And it just doesn't show any signs of getting really stronger as we speak. So upper level shear, keeping that from happening. And there's a jet stream going to move down into the Gulf of Mexico that should start to move this thing by tomorrow toward the east end of Cuba. And then during the day on Sunday, it'll cross just a little bit into the north coast of Cuba. So still, you can see the band of the most moisture should be offshore still on Sunday. We'll get a touch of it. You know, there'll be a touch coming on shore because we still have high pressure to the north of us, and that with that low in the Caribbean, we got high up here, And, try that again. We got a high up here, and we got the low down here, and the difference between the two bringing strong winds in here. So we are going to keep strong winds. There is going to be some moisture off the ocean, but it does not look like this will become anything more than just a low-pressure cell. I'll tell you more about our weekend forecast a little bit later. Back to you.
Thanks, Bob. Let's continue our live team coverage on the Memorial Day weekend in South Beach, where CBS 4's Evan Bacon is standing by. How's the crowd, Evan?
Maggie, it is a beautiful crowd being brought out by beautiful weather. Take a look at Ocean Drive. It's pretty well packed from 5th Street all the way north to 15th Street. Very cool and calm today. People are chilling this afternoon. They're going to be getting their grooves on tonight. Ocean Drive is coming alive with the very hot sights and sounds of Memorial Day 2002.
Everybody's just happy, ready to party, very revealing, showing themselves.
Everybody just happy, go lucky, having a blast.
So far, so good, say Miami Beach police, who logged only 13 arrests last night. That's roughly half this time last year, most of them for minor offenses.
Oh, it's totally different. In fact, those numbers are pretty much indicative of a regular busy weekend here in Miami Beach. So it's not because of the people coming here. It's just that's the matter. You're going to have people that are going to try the system.
But it's not just Ocean Drive where all the action is.
With great pride that on behalf of my colleagues and on behalf of the people of Miami Beach that I present you with the key to our city.
Thank you. Thank you.
City leaders are joining in the festivities, honoring Magic Johnson, who is sponsoring one of the many holiday events scheduled this weekend.
It's not cluttered anymore. It's really nice. So hats off to the mayor, to everybody for what they've done for the people who come down here just to have a safe and good time.
Okay, if you plan to come out here to South Beach, do not bring your car. Roads will be closed from 5th Street to 15th Street on Ocean Drive and all the east-west arteries from Ocean over to Washington. Just keep your car away, and that will cut down on a lot of the hassles. Coming up tonight, Magic Johnson's hip-hop night at Billboard Live. Also, hip-hop top DJs at Club Level on Washington, and Def Jam Records Party at Spin on Lincoln Road. A lot going on tonight. It's Memorial Day weekend. Get ready. We're live on South Beach. Evan Bacon, CBS 4 News.
Major developments tonight in the case of Rillia Wilson. The Department of Children and Families is releasing all of the missing child's records. The 3rd District Court of Appeals handing down that order today. This coming as new billboards go up to help find the little girl. CBS 4's Gary Nelson is live in Coral Gables right now with more on the story for us. Gary.
Well, Elliot, this could rapidly be evolving as the most famous Kinkos in South Florida. For the 2nd consecutive night, we are here awaiting the reproduction and release of previously secret files in the Rillia Wilson case. Now, prosecutors in the DCF had released some of Rillia's files, but withheld many documents, arguing that they were part of an ongoing criminal investigation and that to release them could jeopardize that investigation. Well, today an appeals court sitting in Miami said in so many words, hogwash, and the court ordered the entire Rillia Wilson file be made public.
Now the public has the right to look at these records, evaluate them, and perhaps give their own ideas to the Governor Bush or that Blue Ribbon panel on how they think DCF can improve its caretaking of the children of the state of Florida.
Many of the documents expected to be released this evening are expected to be from or about this woman, caseworker Deborah Miskelly, who it is alleged claimed to have been making monthly visits to check on little Rillia when she had, in fact, not seen the girl for more than a year. And another development today, black community and political leaders in South Florida calling in the news media, blasting Governor Jeb Bush's appointment of a 4-member, all-white Blue Ribbon Commission to investigate the DCF and the Rillia Wilson case. They want the commission expanded and its mission expanded as well. We'll have more on that for you at 6 o'clock. We're live in Coral Gables. Gary Nelson, CBS 4 News.
Updating a story you saw first on 4, a South Florida fisherman remains in the hospital tonight after being bitten by a poisonous snake. Donald Budrid was fishing last night in Coral Springs when a cottonmouth rattlesnake attacked him. Budrid says that he thought it was no big deal, so he went home, but then suddenly became sick. Rescuers rushed him to the hospital just in the nick of time. You will hear what he has to say tonight coming up at 6. A member of the Gambino crime family is sentenced in South Florida today as part of Operation GOODFELLAS. Frank the Bear Basto will be spending the next 65 months in prison after being convicted of possessing and distributing cocaine. Basto was arrested in January trying to buy drugs from an undercover officer.
In the war on terrorism tonight, new revelations about the deadliest firefight for the U.S. in the Afghan war. CBS News animation showed what happened when several American soldiers attempted to rescue another soldier who had fallen out of a helicopter. Tonight, U.S. War Commander General Tommy Franks says the mountain battle that killed 7 Americans was caused by equipment failure, such as broken radios and shot-up helicopters, rather than human error.
An FBI agent is blowing the whistle on higher-ups she says got in the way of investigations into terrorist threats before 9/11. Special Agent Colleen Rowley says the information involves Zacharias Moussaoui, the so-called 20th hijacker, now charged with involvement in the terror plot. Congress is now investigating her claims.
And the FBI is warning terrorists may strike from underwater. The Bureau is alerting state and local law enforcement agencies that it has information about a potential scuba diver attack. But the information is unsubstantiated, and there is no evidence of an imminent attack involving divers.
The latest warning comes on the heels of an alert to transit system operators around the country. They are being told to stay on a heightened state of alert because of possible terrorist activity aimed at subway and train systems. The Transportation Department says there is no specific threat. Remember, for the latest on the war on terrorism online, you can log on to CBS4News.com or SunSentinel.com.
Children sentenced as adults. Is Florida creating more criminals by sending juveniles to adult prison? Find out about a new plan to provide juvenile justice for all. It's part 2 of our special report coming up.
I'm Al Sunshine. Coming up in my consumer alert tonight, shoppers looking for a mid-sized car? Well, you better buckle up for some bad news.
Also ahead, a major victory for homeowners in their own backyards. Find out why they can keep their citrus trees for now.
And a South Florida fisherman attacked by a potentially deadly snake lives to talk about his ordeal. Hear what he has to say coming up on CBS 4 News at 5. We'll be right back.
You're watching CBS 4 News with Maggie Rodriguez, Steve Wolford, Jim Berry Sports, and meteorologist Brian Norcross.
Celebrity contract perks. Mariah's Donuts, J-Lo's obsession with white, and the star who demands a food tester. Then toys of the rich and famous, jewels, jets, and jacuzzis. Plus the Friends Summer Plans and Steve Harvey, XCT.
Weeknights at 7 on CBS 4.
We travel to Texas tonight, where a new juvenile justice system is being praised nationwide as fair and just.
Many would like to see a similar plan here in the state of Florida, where more juveniles are sent to adult prison than anywhere in the nation.
CBS 4's Ted Scouten has part 2 of his special report, Juvenile Justice for All.
When Floridians got fed up with juvenile crime, the state got tough on kids. What that meant is that a lot of them were charged as adults. So they were put into the adult prison system, and they stayed there longer. But is that really the best way to handle children? Tonight, we'll take a look at a brand of Texas justice that may be heading to Florida.
The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
You, Lionel Tate, have been found guilty of murder in the first degree and the death of Tiffany Unit. He's sentenced to incarceration via natural life.
Lionel Tate was slapped with a mandatory life sentence without parole for a murder he committed at just 12 years old. He killed his 6-year-old friend Tiffany Unick when he body slammed her while wrestling at home. But there could be an alternative sentence on the horizon in Florida for kids like Lionel. It's called blended sentencing. The plan, put kids under 16 into the juvenile system for rehabilitation and then into the adult prison if the child is still a danger to society when he turns 21. A similar type of blended sentencing is already in place in several states, including here in Texas. This, of course, is the state that's known for being very tough on killers and the state that executes more murderers than any other. Judy Brumbelow's daughter, Kelly, was murdered 13 years ago near Austin, Texas.
My child is dead, you know. I mean, it's not like the movies. She can't pop back up tomorrow in a different role. You know, she's dead. She's somewhere 8 feet under this pile of dirt. My child is decomposing.
Kelly was a 13-year-old middle school cheerleader and gymnast. In December of 1989, she was murdered by the boy next door, 12-year-old Terrence Sampson, a star football player and straight-A student. He stabbed her 97 times in the face and head.
I don't think I was quite prepared, you know, to hear that my child was slaughtered like that.
They have a verdict?
Terrence was one of the first kids to be sentenced under the Texas form of blended sentencing called determinate sentencing. It's similar to what's being proposed in Florida, but he failed rehabilitation, even sending threatening letters from jail. He was sent to an adult prison when he turned 18 to finish a 30-year sentence. Do you see determinate sentencing as having worked?
Yes.
This is a Giddings State School in Texas. Here's where the worst of the worst go.
The light is gone.
19-year-old ISIAH Griffin is a singer, songwriter, author, and he was convicted of murder when he was 15.
We conspired to rob a gun shop that was up the street from my house. And in the process, we killed my victim, and we took 31 guns.
Since he was sentenced under determinate sentencing, ISIAH is being given a second chance. He's been through intensive therapy, and if it works, he'll be released in 2 years. If not, he faces 40 years in prison.
You sleep, and then you wake up after you come here. You're like, man, what'd I do?
Texas juvenile officials say the system is working. Judges and prosecutors rely on it. In 1994, 600 kids across Texas were tried as adults. In 2000, that number was down to 198. For comparison, in Florida, in 1994, 4,992 kids were charged as adults. In 2000, the number was down to 2,077. In Florida, many prosecutors try kids as adults because the 3-year maximum juvenile sentence just isn't long enough.
In Texas now, most of the kids will receive a sentence equal to or longer than in actual time served than they would if they'd been tried as an adult. And the big benefit of that is that they're put in a system where there's hope. They're not thrown away.
Supporters in Texas and Florida say blended sentencing gives options back to judges to give punishments that will keep the most dangerous kids behind bars while trying to rehabilitate those who have potential. Florida Senator Skip Campbell will introduce legislation here in the fall.
Making sure that those bad kids stay in jail, but also to give an opportunity for kids that have messed up and are rehabilitated the opportunity to come back and live in society and hopefully become a productive member of society.
Teens like ISIAH say blended sentencing has given him the second chance he needs to build a productive, lawful life.
I believe that second chance will be helpful. I do. Because most of the people here, we got a lot of potential.
I thought that I had made it to the finish.
I got a lot of potential.
I face my state, I trade.
The next step for this blended sentencing proposal is Tallahassee. Look for it to be introduced within the next few months and then debated sometime next spring. In Fort Lauderdale, I'm Ted Scouten, CBS 4 News.
It's time for weather right now. Bob Soper was out and about.
Yeah, Jackson Memorial Hospital volunteers got their awards today. I had the honor of being the MC, and a lot of awfully nice people there put in a lot of hours.
Sure do.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of hours. Oh, man. Save the hospital, Jackson Memorial Hospital, something like $4 million a year in their services, so it helps. It's a little blustery out there today. Be careful if you're going to go over to the beach. It's pretty strong winds hitting that beach, and it's going to cause undertows. Miami right now, here at CBS 4, weather control, 82 degrees. Fort Lauderdale, 82. Key West is 83. Relative humidity, 49%. Winds east at 14, gusting to 23 miles per hour. No rainfall officially today, and we really don't see anything on real-time radar, but radar sat over the last 12 hours pretty much says the same thing. There really isn't too much going on anywhere in the state. A few clouds moving into the panhandle. We got those clouds coming up from the south, and then from time to time we see a very fast-moving shower coming in off the ocean. High pressure to the north, low pressure to the south. The squeeze is on in the atmosphere. Here's the low. We're talking about this broad area down here in the Caribbean, and then you get up around us, and it's fairly dry weather with that high pressure ridge over us. And then there's some nasty weather out to the behind that, up into the rest of the southeastern U.S. and Louisiana, Texas. That's really not going to be any problem for us. There's just a little bit of an upper-level jet, but that's moving that stuff away from us, so I don't think we're going to bother about that. Keeping an eye on this low in the Caribbean, and in time, we think that it will move across Cuba and on up in our neighborhood. But right now, the heaviest rainfall in the Caribbean up in the eastern half of Cuba. There's that high that I was talking about, So the squeeze in the atmosphere between those two systems is causing strong beach breezes. That's going to stay around tomorrow. There'll be a stray shower or two, but you can see most of the moisture with this low is staying around Cuba. And then by Monday, it's going to move on up into the area right around the Bahamas. Rest of the nation, the weather right in the middle of the nation, kind of tough. All right, here's a look at our forecast for tonight. A strong breeze, isolated showers, moving fast on that breeze, 75 degrees. For tomorrow, not really that bad. Sunny with pretty strong breeze, heavy surf. That means a rip current too. Quick showers, 85 degrees. So we're going to put in small craft advisory with those swimmer rip currents. Talk to a lifeguard. If you go to the beach, winds northeast of 20 knots, seas up to 10 feet in the Gulf Stream Bay waters, choppy. And looking ahead, Sunday and Monday, not a whole lot of change, just a hit and miss shower here and there. Good weekend. Back to you.
Thanks, Bob. Still ahead, the Archdiocese of Miami is breaking its silence in the Catholic Church sex scandal. Tonight, we learn South Florida priests have been suspended because of sex abuse allegations.
California police in a wild standoff, only this suspect is a mountain lion. We'll tell you what happened next.
Plus, we're taking you behind the scenes of a patriotic special starring Celine Dion, shot right here in South Florida.
And if you're in the market for a mid-sized car, buckle up for some pretty bad news.
The weekend on Wall Street down all the way, with the Dow closing down 112 points, the NASDAQ down 36, and the S&P 500 down 13.
And don't forget to get the latest news you want when you want it simply by signing up for our CBS 4 News notifier. Just log on to our website at cbs4news.com. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning is sponsored by City Furniture, the ultimate furniture store.
There is bad news tonight about some mid-sized cars in tonight's Consumer Alert.
CBS 4's Al Sunshine is here to explain the results of the latest low-speed crash tests. Al.
Maggie Elliott, get this. The latest crash test came at only 5 miles an hour. That's about the same as a fast walk. But in some cases, the damage totaled several $1,000s.
The news for consumers isn't good. 5 of the 9 have poor bumpers, and 2 others are only marginal.
This latest testing by the insurance industry was aimed at finding out what could happen to some of the most popular mid-sized cars on the road. The testing simulated a typical low-speed parking lot or commuting accident.
Remember, all 4 tests are conducted at 5 miles an hour. That's just a fast walking speed.
Again, it was just a fast walking speed, but in some cases the damage added up to thousands of dollars. This new Jaguar X-Type got a poor rating.
The new Jaguar X-Type was the worst performer in this round of bumper tests. There was nearly $6,800 in damage in the Institute's 4 5-mile-an-hour crash tests. In the front corner into angle barrier test alone, the damage was more than $2,500. And in the rear into pole test, the damage that you can see here was more than $2,300.
Earning marginal ratings were the new Nissan Altima and the Acura TL. Allowing excessive damage, according to the Insurance Institute, Saab's 9.5, Volvo's S60, the Lexus IS300, and the Hyundai XG350. The average damage came out to about $500 per test, but the most expensive turned out to be Jaguar at more than $2,000.
By comparison, the Lexus ES300 sustained only $537 damage in the very same test. Why the difference? Well, Lexus has strengthened the bumper bar underneath the bumper cover.
The industry itself continues to criticize these tests, insisting they do meet the required federal safety standards of the United States.
Now, for the 2002 models, Toyota's twins, the Camry and the Lexus ES300, suffered the least damage, earning acceptable ratings. Now, remember, these tests are used by the insurance industry to set their rates. Vehicles that do well in the crash test are usually the cheapest to insure. I'm Al Sunshine, CBS 4 News.
Thank you, Al. It's time now to see what's coming up on CBS 4 News at 5:30. Here's Danielle Knox with a preview. And coming up in just a few minutes, big news for homeowners fighting to stop citrus tanker cutting. A judge is telling the government to stop. We'll tell you where that's happening. Also ahead, the Archdiocese of Miami makes a stunning revelation about its priests and allegations of sexual misconduct. And the cameras are rolling as a helicopter tries to rescue a snowboarder stuck on a mountain. Plus, a mountain lion finds itself in a really sticky situation. Those stories and more when CBS 4 News at 5:30 begins in just a couple minutes. We'll see you then. That's it for CBS 4 News at 5. I'll see you again at 6. CBS 4 News at 5:30 with Elliot Rodriguez and Danielle Knox starts right now.
Now, live. This is CBS 4 News at 5:30.